Good evening, tubers. Matt M. Roy back once again. Well, a few minutes early at least, about 3 minutes early. Thought we'd go ahead and just get things started here. Hope everybody had a great day today. I just took a shower. You could probably see that this is not sweat, by the way. This is not sweat. This is just water from the shower. And I still need to get a haircut. I haven't had a chance to do that at all this week. So let's see who's here. We have MCRPG, Omi MG. It's Matt M. Roy. Awesome. David New says, I finally made it. George Stewart says, hey. Minecraft 2.0 needs 10 subs. Let's try to help him out there. George Blakely is here. Wow, we got a lot of people here tonight. And Harold K says, I might catch one of these live for the first time in a while. Yeah, I think it has been a while. So Paul Kane's not going to be here. He's not frustrated, so he's going to forgo this live stream. Well, I hope not, because this is not just for people that are frustrated. I kind of did this as a give back to all of you that work the normal 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job. Mondays always seem to be the worst day of the week. You know, you're just getting off from the weekend. Maybe you're a little hungover, maybe just partied a little too much, and you know, you have some things you're picking up on, projects that you left for the weekend, or you left on Friday, so you're back into the work week. So basically, I'm giving everybody a chance here to go ahead and air their grievances, if you will. Now, that's not the only thing we're going to talk about tonight, but I thought I'd give back and give everybody a chance just to kind of vent a little bit. I put some R12 ARE, that's funny, in my link in Ace. I hope I didn't screw it up. Well, as far as I know, you're supposed to make sure you put it in, I think it's the low end and not the high end, which we actually couldn't do when we had to fill my Tahoe back up because it wouldn't go in. There was something wrong with the low end valve, so Dad actually had to put it in the high end, and luckily it worked. But yeah, I know you're not really supposed to do that. Eric Brunhammer says 8 to 6. Yeah, you have a long work day. I'm telling you, I worked. Don't think I haven't worked in my whole life. I have done full-time jobs. You know, I've worked at Best Buy. I've worked at Sonic. I worked at as a dishwasher for Old Country Buffet. That was the worst one. I really couldn't stand that. Paul Kane asks, any good thrift store scores recently? Nothing, my friend. It's just been bare bones dry here. I think the last thing I bought at a thrift store was a leather coat, and it's just kind of a bum around coat. Actually, I've been doing better at the local department stores. I don't know how many of you saw these from my last couple of live streams ago, but I went to Target this past weekend and I picked up 2 of the Seagate Backup Plus Hub 4 terabyte external hard drives. These things are awesome. I haven't even got a chance to open them yet. They were originally $119.99. They were marked down, if you look there, to $59.99. But that's not the end of the story. When I got up to the register, they rung up $35.99. That's right. These were $36 a piece, and I already had the 2 of them with me, so I wound up buying both. And I actually was going to look at the other stores, see if any other stores had them available, but unfortunately, these were the last 2 in any of the Targets in my area. So I guess I was blessed to be able to get these 2. Now, one thing I will let you guys know. I watch Resale Rabbit and a few other YouTubers that are full-time resellers. I mean, that's all they do is they buy liquidation pallets. They buy, you know, stuff that's gone on clearance at the big box stores, and then they resell it. And I was looking on Amazon, and do you know that on Amazon, these are still actively selling for $120? Now, I'm going to keep these because I need more storage for my YouTube videos, but if I wanted to make a quick buck, I could easily flip these for $100 to $120 on Amazon and triple my money. So if you guys have stores near you, which a lot of you probably have Targets, Walmarts, you can go ahead and do the same thing. And the way you find out what the actual price is, you want to download the app for that store. Target has the Target app, Walmart has the Walmart app. And the cool thing about it is no matter what Walmart or Target you're in, as soon as you open that app up, it'll automatically find that location. And then you can go ahead and start scanning the clearance products. All you need to do is scan the UPC code, that little like 12 or 13 digit code that's on the bottom. And you can find out what the actual price is. And a lot of time it's what they call a hidden clearance price. And a lot of times the clearance price is actually lower than the price that's listed on the box. Franchise Kicks is another good one. He's really big time now. He's been going to liquidation centers and buying all different kinds of pallets. I think the last video I saw from him was he bought 1,000 pounds of food liquidation. Now that's really gutsy. I mean, I honestly don't think I would do that because who knows what that could have gone through. I mean, you don't know if it was stored properly. Yeah, the ones he got, luckily everything was in date, but I'd question whether or not they were in an accident. What if they were stored in a damp, warehouse somewhere for a few months? I mean, the stuff could be bad, but apparently he's gotten really lucky. Eric goes, I'm hoping I am not stupid enough to buy a drone for about 3 minutes of video in one video. I hope not either. I saw that drone you shared, and it didn't look too bad. Let me pull that up real quick. I honestly didn't even look at the price, so let me pull your message up here. How much was that? $152? Yeah. I'd say if you were going to use it more, it'd be worth it, but for that kind of money, I'd forgo the drone footage. David New asks, what's the worst elevator that you've ever seen? What did it do, if so? Oh, this is a great one. And I hope I have some of my other elevator fans out there. I was at the Danbury Mall, the Danbury Fair Mall in Danbury, Connecticut, which was very close to where we used to live. And they had a parking garage in there. And installed in that parking garage were two Otis Gen 1s, I think. Yeah, they were. They were Otis Gen 1s. So they had the green phosphorus digital displays. Well, Mom and I were there, and it was a really cold winter day. I mean, really cold. We're talking maybe like 10 below. And we push the button. We park in the parking garage. We get to the elevator. We push the button. The elevator door opens, and I noticed that it's really slow, the door. And I'm like, are you sure you want to go in here? Mom's like, yeah, it'll be fine. So we go in, push the button to go to the first floor. I want to say that we were like on the third or fourth floor. And then the door, again, really, really slow closing. And another thing I noticed is the lights are really, really dim inside. I'm like, this is not good. So the elevator starts to go down. And as it goes down, the motor makes the most horrendous whining and screeching sound, almost like a jet engine that's failing. I mean, it was that bad. And as it was going down, the elevator, the cab was actually hopping down. So I think what had happened was it was so cold outside that the hydraulic fluid was becoming solid, and it was having a real hard time getting pushed through the cylinder. And in this case, it would be doing the opposite. It would be trying to get pushed back in. And I think it was so hard that the elevator was straining just to get that hydraulic ram back down, because that's the way these ones work. They were like a hydraulic ram that would go up and down. And thank the Lord we did not get stuck. It made it to the first floor, incredibly made it to the first floor. I don't know how it did, because it was running at about 10% of the normal speed. Whereas it normally probably would have taken that elevator 30 seconds to get to the first floor, it took us about 4 minutes to get there. And I was on pins and needles. I knew that we were in trouble. And on top of that, the floor was actually, it must have gotten wet at some point, and the floor was flexing like it was rotted. Suffice to say, I never went in that elevator again. And I think the next time we went there, that elevator was shut down. And I'm not even sure if they ever reopened it or not. If they did, they probably had to totally replace it. Dave New goes, that's not good. One of the elevators, the Schindler MT and MacArthur's North Deck elevators, I know it well, shakes violently and squeaks like crazy, both up and down. The door shakes. Yeah, those Schindlers were never known for reliability, and I know I'm going to get some haters on here that are saying, "Oh, I love Schindler. I've seen their plant." Well, you know what? They've never been known for good quality elevators, and the ones in MacArthur, especially the ones in the parking garage, are always breaking down for one reason or another. Paul King goes, most elevators out near us are modern units. Old ones have been replaced. We don't have as many issues with cold weather either. Now that's interesting because in my experience, the newer elevators are usually the ones that cause the problems because the older ones, anything dating back before like 1990 and even 1980s are all relay controlled and they are much more reliable. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I would feel much more comfortable riding in an elevator that was installed in the 1950s or 1960s versus one that was installed 10 years ago because I know that it's going to be more reliable. You guys may have had different experiences, but that's what I've seen. Most modern elevators are junk. I mean, heck, I remember they just built a new medical complex near us, and my dad goes there, and they put in Otis Gen. What are they up to now? Gen 4 elevators, and they were terrible. I mean, this complex just opened, and a week later, I'm going in those elevators, going up and down. They're shaking back and forth. They're squeaking. I mean, not dangerous to like where I'd be afraid they'd break down, but a new elevator should definitely not do that. Harold K goes, hey, Matt, I hope this isn't too personal. Well, we'll find out. But I'm asking for advice. Have you ever been homeless? And if so, how did you get out of the situation? I've recently gone homeless just out of high school. I've been trying to find a job, but no luck so far. Well, no, I haven't. I'm sorry that you're going through that. I know that's very hard. I know people that have gone through it. As a matter of fact, my very good friend, who I'm not going to name here, in high school was homeless for a short time, and we actually took him in, and he lived here for a few months. I have lived at home pretty much my whole life. Now, that reason being, I have some issues mentally, but mainly it's because I have Asperger's, which I just found out I had last year. But no, I mean, it's always a possibility. You know, we don't never know what the future brings. I mean, I feel blessed that I have a roof over my head. I have parents that love me and I love them, and we all get along. We, help each other out. What I would recommend doing is getting into a good church. Find a local church, maybe one that has a outreach support for people in your situation. If you find a church and you attend it regularly, believe me, things will start to happen for you. I have had to lean on the Lord in very hard times. There have been very hard times in my life. I mean, heck, I'm still going through things in my life right now. That's the best advice I can give you. Paul King goes, the place you have to worry about is California. The state has only a handful of state inspectors to look at all the lifts in the state. Wow. The state has to send out letters about not worrying. Well, I guess if I was in California, I'd be in pretty good shape because if I had to go up and down in any high rises, I'd be taking the stairs. Eric goes, I'm slightly claustrophobic, so I'm not a fan of slow elevators. Yeah, I could see that. I was semi-claustrophobic when I was young, but that's something I actually overcame. Very surprised that I did too. Well, David New goes, I'm sorry to hear that. In my opinion, it means you have lousy parents if they kicked you out. I really hope it goes well, and trying your best is the best thing to do. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, you don't know the circumstances. Maybe the parents are struggling themselves. But yeah, I mean, I hate going down this road because I'm not an expert in this at all. If anything, I'm probably the total opposite. But again, the best thing I can tell you to do is find a good church home. Again, maybe one that has an outreach program. I know in my area there are a lot of local churches that'll take in men, women. It depends on which church. They have a place that you can live and work. But a lot of times you have to be an addict to get in there, but not all the time. So just do some research. I hope that you have a car or something at least that you can, give you shelter maybe at night. Hal K goes, yeah, it's all in the Lord's plan, just doing my best to live life in his light. Absolutely. And, we will struggle. I'm going to be honest with you. I've struggled most of my life, and I've been having a crisis of faith as of late. Basically, things have not been going according to plan with me either. You guys know that I had planned about a year ago to be moving out and moving up near where my uncle lives. I was going to rent a house from his neighbor and basically start my computer business up there. Well, unfortunately, for one reason or another, that plan has had to been put on hold. So things happen for a reason. And would I ideally like to be in a different situation in my life right now? Yes, of course. I would love to be like a lot of my friends, have my own home, maybe work that regular 9 to 5 job, have a wife, have some kids. But it's just not in the cards for me, at least not right now. And I have to remember that the Lord, again, has a plan for me. And I think his plan for me now is to stay put, help out around the house, and then maybe in a few years, he'll put that opportunity in my path. And that's really what we have to remember. We have to remember that everything happens for a reason. If we start to force things to happen, then that's when we falter, because that may not be what his plan was for us. Paul Kane, absolutely. We all have crosses to bear. And I'm glad that everybody feels comfortable airing some of their issues here. I don't want to say dirty laundry because that's not really what it is. Airing some of their grievances. Reviews for Noobs goes, this is depressing. It is, but it's reality. And I try to be upbeat on my channel for the most part, but life isn't all peaches and cream or roses or good times. There is pretty much an equal amount of good and bad in life. That's something that I have absolutely learned in my 36 years on this planet we call Earth. We're going to have the good times, and the good times can be really good. But we're going to have the bad times, and in my experience, a lot of times the bad times are worse than the good times. So that's why we have to embrace all the good that this world has to offer. And yeah, as of late, it's in short supply. But you know what? The amazing thing is we can create that good. We can be the beacon of light in dark times. And I always lean on the Lord for that. I do my best to read my verses. I listen to a lot of Christian music. And the easiest thing to do is have a good attitude, have a good personality. If you're out in public, and I see it every day. I mean, I would say 9 out of every 10 people that I meet have a poor attitude. I mean, they're down for one reason or another. And I try to be the person that picks them up. I'll go up to somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going? What can I do to help you?" That is what we got to remember to do. And yeah, if we help others, it will come back on us. And most of the time, it'll come back on us twofold. So that's my philosophy on life. Do I succeed at that all the time? Absolutely not. There are days that I am unbearable. If I didn't have a great sleep at night, I wake up in the morning, I'm like the Walking Dead, a zombie. And you probably don't even want to be near me until I've had 2, maybe 4 cups of coffee. But we have to remember that there are going to be days like that, but we have to push forward because that's all we can do. Paul Kane, here's got a Bible verse. That's good. Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Absolutely. That is a great verse and great book of the Bible. Hey, it's my name. No, but I don't want to be prideful here. Yeah, basically what that means is we need to embrace what each day has for us. We don't need to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or a week later or 2 weeks or a month down the road. And I have faltered in this myself. I think we probably all have because we all overthink things. And in the era of technology, it's made things even worse because now we have so much more to worry about. Oh, I need to go ahead and contact my 20 friends on Facebook Messenger. I need to go ahead and answer that text message that my friend sent me a day or 2 ago. We think we're more connected now than we have ever been, and that's true. But it makes us more stressed than we have ever been. And that's why I am a big proponent of doing away, at least for a day or 2, with social media. We need to have what is called a social media blackout, in my opinion. Eric, I'm sorry. Let me read it right here. You can see Milo's in the background. That's another thing. If you guys are stressed out, pet a cat. That will de-stress you almost immediately. Jeremiah 29:11, New King James Version. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Wow, I love that verse. I actually don't know that verse personally. Read that again. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and of hope. So basically, the way he thinks of us is peaceful and loving. And that's the way we need to think of him and everybody else. Now, here's a hard thing for a lot of people. You not only need to think good thoughts and treat people with respect that you just meet or people that are your friends, but you have to do the same with your enemies. Believe it or not, you have to forgive your enemies and forgive transgressions that people have done unto you and ones that you have done unto other people. They have to forgive you back as well. That is extremely hard for a lot of people. Again, I'm going to use myself as an example. I have failed in this area. There are people that it took me a very long time to forgive because of what they did to me in the past. But until you accept that forgiveness and until you, I should say this, until you give that forgiveness and they don't even have to accept it. You hope that they do, but you have to give that forgiveness. Once you give that forgiveness, it's like a weight is lifted off of your shoulders, and you will have all the blessings that should be bestowed upon you. Nick Roberts, hey, what Christian music do you recommend? I like POD and Creed. I like a little more old school than that. 80s and 70s. So we're talking the Imperials. I've been listening to a lot of Petra recently. What's the other one? Michael W. Smith, Amy Grant. And yes, before I may ask, Amy Grant was a Christian music singer before she went to contemporary music. But those are some of my favorite groups personally. David New, I agree completely. Living life to the fullest is the best route to go, and living life to be someone in whom you weren't intended to be. It can't, because a lot more unneeded stress than there should be. Okay, I get what you're saying. It's the posers. You ever heard of posers? People that go along with the crowd and they put on a facade, they put on a mask to fit in. Those are the people he's talking about. Those are the people in life that are usually extremely miserable, because to be accepted and to be, into the in crowd, they're putting a mask on. They're making themselves into something that they really aren't. And to me, that is one of the worst things you can do. It's like living a lie. I've known a lot of people like that in the past, a lot of what we call fake people. And I don't know, maybe I'm extra good at this, but I can tell somebody who's a poser almost immediately. And if they're a poser, I want to call them out. I usually won't. Generally, what I'll do is I just won't hang out with that person. Stephen Barber goes, Matt, you're a good person and a good friend. Thank you. You know what? I appreciate that. I really do, because it's hard sometimes. Especially for me. I don't always do well in social situations, so I really appreciate it when you tell me that. Paul Can, I have to split. Wife just got home and I have to touch base. Definitely do that. I appreciate you coming and hope to see you in the next live stream. That cat has no shame. Milo, you're going to bathe right on the live stream, huh? Well, cats have to be clean, so I guess I can give him a pass on that. Nick Roberts goes, my life would be boring without these live streams. Oh, don't say that. Well, you know what? That's good. Interaction, I think, is the best. And it's interesting because I've been looking at my analytics lately, and the live streams have been getting a lot of likes and very few dislikes. Not so much my vlogs. As a matter of fact, I'll pull up the latest vlog, which I did today. And yeah, I know they're kind of on the long side. I try to cut them down, but it's really hard. I want to get a lot of information out. The latest vlog, I got 8 likes and 3 dislikes. So not as bad as some of the other ones. And it's funny because on every video, live stream or vlog, I tend to get 3 dislikes off the bat. And I think I know who these people are. They're lucky I haven't blocked them. And the reason I haven't is they do like my channel. I would appreciate it if these people who shall remain nameless just wouldn't watch the videos. And I don't get that. If it's the same 3 people disliking every single video, except for the ones that maybe interest them, then just don't watch the videos. There's no point in hitting that dislike button. And that kind of aggravates me, to be honest with you. So wait a minute. The last live stream was the road trip one, and that one got 14 likes and only 4 dislikes. And then the one before that was the Friday night live stream, Caution Deal Alert. That's when I first showed you guys those hard drives. And that one got only 3 dislikes. So again, it seems like you guys tend to like the live streams over the vlogs. Kitty Cat, I'm going to bathe on your stream while sitting on a chair. Cat grins evilly. You going to grin evilly, Maya? Yeah. He's got such a cute face. He is the evil of the 2 cats. Honestly, he is an evil little thing. He'll come in here early in the morning, jump on my bed, go on my computer desk, knock my glasses off, knock my Fitbit off. Then we'll go over and knock off the diphenhydramine Benadryl pill bottle that I keep near my bed, because I got to take that at night or I can't sleep. And then we'll start walking all over me, maybe lick my head. That's kind of cute, but Baxter is nice. Baxter, on the other hand, will wait till I actually physically sit up in bed in the morning, and then he'll come up on the bed and let me pet him. So believe me, Baxter is actually the better of the 2 cats. WW Souls, do you get extra money from YouTube for more likes, or is it just based on total views? It's actually a combination of both. The more likes I get, the more YouTube, or Google who's the YouTube's parent company, is apt to put my videos higher in the search list. So it's actually a combination of both. I do get money from YouTube. I get it from ad revenue. I get it from super chats when people out there are feeling generous. But it's not my main source of income. You guys know that I do computer work, and I have a few other things that I won't talk about on here just because they're private. Nothing bad, but just because I don't need to air my entire personal life. Jonathan Grinnell goes, I've noticed that people who have donated on the 8-Bit Guys channel don't see videos on the things that get donated. Yeah, to be honest with you, I can understand it in his case because he gets so many donations that I can't even imagine he would have time to go through all of them. As a matter of fact, if you watch his last couple of donation videos, he explains how many times he's had to turn donations down. And I don't get that many. I've only actually gotten one donation, and that was from Hired Gun. And yeah, I haven't got a chance to open that up yet either. But he and I have talked, and he said he's fine with me waiting a little bit to unbox that. George Stewart, good advice, Matt. The best advice anybody could get. It's what I'm here for. Pat Scanlon, ditto. Well, again, if you want to donate something to the channel, a piece of tech or something that you want me to have to maybe review or use in a build or something, I absolutely will be fine with that. As a matter of fact, I have planned. I'm not sure how this is going to work. Eric, you're back, so I'm going to tell you this right now. It is almost a definite that I will be leaving town. I think it's going to be November 5th. And I'm planning on visiting Eric if he can get the day off. And we're going to try to shore that up within the next couple of days. When you see bull, it's a bunch of bull. I know it's corny, but it's the yeast I can do. I love wordplay. That is funny too. Yeah, if I was like the 8-Bit Guy, I totally get it. And here's the thing: if somebody needed something and I shipped it to them, donated it to them, I've done this before. I wouldn't care what they use it for. If they don't show it on video, you know what? It's no big deal. It's just that. It's a donation. It's something that I'm not going to use anymore, and maybe the other person can. That's just kind of the way I look at it. Eric goes, I'll put November 5th in to be off tomorrow. Thank you. And I'll call you or message you personally if that changes. Awesome Computers, what are funny things that happened in high school? You want to know something funny? And I guess it's really kind of sad, to be honest with you. When I had my mental, we'll call it what it is, my mental breakdown back around 2010, 2012, I lost a lot of my memories from high school. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember a lot of what happened in high school. If I had to say some of the fondest memories that I do still have from high school, were probably in the choir. I loved singing. I still love singing. I have what is considered a pretty good voice. And those were my fondest memories, singing Christmas carols on the street corners in Portsmouth at MacArthur Center. We actually sung at MacArthur Center. Other than that, I remember I used to have a lot of fun with my friends when we rode on the bus from the school to what was called at the time the Chesapeake Center for Science and Technology. It was kind of a vocational school. We used to kind of pal around on the bus. So that's honestly what I remember more than anything. I wish I could tell you more. I really wish I could. Eric goes, I thought about getting a P.O. box for donations, but I probably wouldn't get any, LOL. Don't say that. A lot of people are willing to donate. I mean, I've seen it. It's amazing. Jonathan Grinnell, I've noticed my external hard drive that I bought a long time ago was a Western Digital Black as advertised, but I looked at the model on my drive. Turns out it was a Western Digital Blue. They pulled the old switcheroo on you there. Yeah, I've seen that happen too. As a matter of fact, I remember years ago I had in my book, Western Digital, my book had supposedly had the same thing. It had I think that one was advertised having Western Digital Caviar Blue drive, but years later when I broke it open, it wound up having a Caviar Green drive in it, which is really bad because a Caviar Green is only a 5,400 RPM drive, whereas a Caviar Blue or Black is a 7,200 RPM drive. Yep, George Stewart said, "The Lord has a plan for you, Matt. He knows every hair on your head. Do not shake your faith." Absolutely. Isn't that amazing? He knows every single strand of hair that's on your head. If I was to do this, if I pulled out that little eyelash, he knows that eyelash and he knows why I just pulled it out. So it's kind of corny, but I think I got the point across. Miss Jimmy, at my school, we rode and looked after horses. Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds like a parochial school, or what we would call a parochial school in our country. David News, something funny that happened in school. I graduated in June, and this happened quite often. The girls farted so loud it could be heard from the hallway. I know it's kind of nasty, but it was funny. Yeah, actually used to happen in our school too. As a matter of fact, I think the girls were more flatulent than the guys. Stephen Barber, my big mission, and this might be a mistake, might get what is that? Waked with the direct TV dish, but I'm going to order the parts online and do it myself. Install LOL. I can do it myself. Wish me luck. Oh, I will. You should be able to do it. Honestly, the hardest part is aligning the dish to the satellite. But I think if I remember DirecTV, you should have to have a clear view of the southern sky. Compass might come in hand too because they'll give you the actual coordinates that you need. If you have those two things, you should be good to go. Look it up on YouTube. I bet you people have videos of doing that. Let's see if you know this lyric and who sang it. Consider the likes, then you will know. Not sure. I'm not getting that one. Let's see if you know this lyric and who sings it. Consider the likes, then you will know. You got me, Eric. I'm sorry. Could you do a review on the LODD drive enclosure, Matt? I always enjoyed the product, and I think you might like it is. I'm not sure if I'll get around to it or not. I can't promise anything right now. The way my schedule is going to be the next month, I don't want to promise a video that I know instinctively I probably won't be able to put out. George Stewart goes, there's an old saying, if everyone you know knew through their problems in the middle of the room, you would pull your own problems back. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we, by nature, humans are very narcissistic. We're going to look at what our problems are, not what other people's problems are. Now, there are people out there, and I'm one of them to a point, that can look at other people's problems and empathize. They're what we call empathetic people, but that's very far and few between. I've noticed as human beings, we all tend to be very narcissistic, and it's not necessarily our fault. It's just the way we're wired. What is it? My Picture Pro. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time reading. My eyes are kind of getting blurry. Let me try it without my glasses here. David knew my picture profile is kind of corny, but let us continue and maybe I'll catch up. Oh man, that wordplay is so funny. Lettuce like the vegetable and ketchup like the vegetable. I have not tried Tinder. It's something I need to look into. Unbelievable how much time I don't have for things, honestly. Grinder. I don't know what that is. I'm almost afraid to look that up. I'm not going to say why, but I'll bet you guys know why. Grinder. Well, I wouldn't use Grinder because, well, one thing, I'm not gay, bi, trans, or queer, but I mean, if you are, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess that would be the one to use. I never heard of that one. I've heard of Tinder before. Cameron Cloud goes, we need a new Las Vegas vlog. One of my faves. I think it was better with the glasses. Yeah, I would love to get back to Las Vegas. As a matter of fact, I have free rooms for where do they give us the tickets for free? Oh, Mandalay Bay. I have free 2 nights at Mandalay Bay. I the only thing is I have to save up enough money because I have to fly out there, of course. But yeah, I love Vegas. Heck yeah. I would do that again in a heartbeat if I had the money. David New Tinder is very tender, especially when it comes in the form of chicken tenders. More wordplay. Camera Clock goes, I see your fried chicken video has like nearly 1 million views. Yeah, yeah, it does. I'd love to do another one of those, but unfortunately, I don't eat that kind of food much anymore. I mean, I theoretically I could still eat fried chicken and some fried foods, but I'm still trying to lose some more pounds. I probably should give you guys a fitness update. I'm not doing so great. I'm not really gaining, but I'm not losing. I got on the scale and I'm still around like 205 pounds, which, believe it or not, is actually perfectly fine for somebody my height. But I still, mentally, I still want to get to that 200-pound mark, and that would make me happy. Fried chicken salad, yeah, I would. That actually does sound pretty good. Now, bear in mind, you can make fried chicken healthy, and I need to do a video about that. Basically, what you would do, you can actually get healthy bread. Like I could take the bread, the honey oat bread that I get from Aldi. What you would do is you take bread like that, or whole wheat, whatever healthy bread you have. What you do is you leave it out for a couple of days to get stale. Believe it or not, after that, what you do is you put it in a food processor and you grind it up. In effect, you're making your own breadcrumbs. Now, when I do that, I'll usually add a little salt, pepper, maybe some Parmesan cheese. Now, once you've done that, you can go ahead and take your chicken. I usually use an egg wash. I'll crack some eggs in a bowl. I'll put in a little Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire. I don't know how everybody says that, but I'll put a little bit of that in there. Some garlic, and what else did I put in there? Worcestershire sauce, garlic, and onion powder. And I'll mix that in. And what I'll do is I'll dip the chicken into the egg wash. Then I'll go ahead and dip it into the fresh breadcrumbs that I just made. And I'll put it on a rack and then I'll let it sit. You want to let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, just to let the breadcrumbs set onto the egg wash. And then what I'll do is I'll heat up a pan on the stove and I'll use extra virgin olive oil. And I'll go ahead and just fry them on either side. If they're thin chicken strips, then I use, oh, by the way, I use boneless, skinless chicken breast, the healthiest portion. If they're thin, I'll probably cook them for about 5 minutes on either side. Take it out, let it drip dry. And usually I'll eat that with some honey mustard. I'll usually get that from Walmart or something because I think the one from Walmart is made with cane sugar and not high fructose corn syrup. But yeah, that would be a healthy way to eat fried chicken. Now, the delicious way to do it would be to watch that old video, the best fried chicken I ever had, and do it the way my good friend Margaret does, with a lot of, I think she used shortening, and you basically use the fattier meats and parts of the chicken, i.e. the dark meat, and you keep the skin on. But it's all up to you. But I'm going to try to do that. I think that will make an interesting cooking video. Yanks One Fan 09. Wow, I like that name. Mainly because I like the Yankees. I've been on a no carb with bread included and no sugar diet since the beginning of the year, and I have lost a lot of weight, and I am down to 165. I only have a treat like ice cream once every 2 weeks. That's great. So you're on bread but no sugar. And I did something similar to that. I always had carbs in my diet, but I knocked out the sugar when I was losing the bulk of the weight. I'm not as good as you. I have a treat every day. I'll be honest with you. Recently, I've been eating either a donut or something sweet every day, but I have to, because as much as I work out, you got to remember, I bike ride 12 to 14 miles a day. Plus, I get upwards of 15,000 steps. So I'm actually training like I was in a marathon. So I need those carbs in my diet. But if you're somebody who's losing weight and you're exercising, but maybe you're not exercising quite as much as I'm doing, then yeah, you want to go ahead and watch those carbs and that sugar, because that is what's actually going to put the fat back on. Believe it or not, it's actually good to eat fat. Fat will not make you fat. What makes you fat is sugar and carbs. I mean, they've proven that time and time again. Lost Computers, how do I get a Galaxy Note 10 when I'm broke? Probably the easiest way would be to get a partnership with Samsung to review a Galaxy Note 10 on your YouTube channel, and hope they let you keep it. That would be my advice anyway. Wow, almost at 40 likes. That is amazing. I tell you, I can't believe we had that many people here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats, because I had a couple of people a few live streams ago that sent some super chats, and I didn't see them till the very end, and I didn't shout out, which is something that you have to do. That's kind of etiquette when anybody sends a super chat. Stephen Barber says, it's good to save money. I've been a DirecTV lover since '03. We used to have DirecTV, but now we have Verizon Fios in our area, which honestly, the quality between the two was about the same. The only problem that we had is we didn't quite have a unobstructed view of the southern sky. So whenever we would have rain or something, the satellite would go out. It's a good option. He could apply for a job that gives free phones. Review Snoobs, I just have free TV and YouTube. Yeah, I mean, that's really all you need now is internet. You can get everything through the internet now. Eric goes, I'm working on a potentially sponsored video, as they will give me the product to review, but not pay me for the coverage. I did something similar to that. If you remember the Tech Tools 12-volt mug, I did that review back a few years ago, and yeah, it was fun to do, but nothing really came of it. David New, I think the best way to budget is put 50% of your income into rent and other needs, 30% in entertainment, and 20% into savings. Well, they say that you should have about 30 to 40% of your income going to your house, so i.e. rent or mortgage. It's close. I would say more. I would actually go the other route. I would say you should have 30% savings and 20% into entertainment. But that's just me. I've always been a saver. Things come up in life. You want to make sure you have that emergency fund. I'm a huge proponent of David Ramsey or Dave Ramsey always says at the very least you want to have $1,000 saved up for emergencies. 43 likes, 44. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is insane. That is true. Some people can't afford to do it. I couldn't afford to have that much money for a very long time. Now I live without. And to be perfectly honest, the reason that I can save money now is I don't eat out as much as I used to. I would say the bulk of the money that I made in my heavier days went to eating out. I mean, I would eat out 3, 4 times a day. It was usually fast food, McDonald's, Sonic, Wendy's for a while. I would get those double, triple cheeseburgers there. I mean, that stuff was not only killing me, my body, but it was killing my bank account. It was insane. I do still eat out, but it's much less. And when I do eat out, I make sure it's healthy. There goes, there's a company in Michigan that manufactures automotive suspension parts, and I am in talks with them for providing me struts and other suspension parts for my mom's van. Now that sounds fun. If I have some time on the way back, Eric, and you have those, I would love to film that for you. I think that would be really cool because it would be a learning process for me for sure. Again, I'm not great when it comes to automotive repair. I can do the basics. I've done brakes. I've done rotors. I've replaced sensors like O2 oxygen sensors. But when it comes to, well, I shouldn't say that. I've actually done shocks before, but I've never done struts, just shocks. 51. Oh, I can't believe this. I don't believe that I only have 17 people watching now, which is what my ticker says, and 51 likes. I think there's something going on with that part of the live stream process. Isn't he cute back there, Milo? You are such a good boy, My. So friendly, so content just to sleep on that chair. But there's evil behind those eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. You guys don't need to see me yawn. Stephen Barber, I hate eating out. I'm cheap plus also a type 1 diabetic. It makes it hard to count carbs. I rather eat at home. Yeah, I could definitely understand that. One thing you want to be careful when eating out is, especially in the chain restaurants, believe it or not, can be worse at this than the privately owned ones, like family-owned restaurants. They'll give you guidelines of the chain restaurant for each item that's on the menu. They'll tell you how many carbs, how much sugar, how much fat, and in calories. But I have read and I've learned that the majority of those statistics are false. A lot of times that has a lot more carbs and fat and calories than they say. You're almost better off going to a small mom and pop restaurant, cafe, boîte, or whatever you'd want to call it, because you can usually ask the owner or the chef what they're putting in the food. And even better than that, a lot of these restaurants, you can actually get the food customized for your dietary requirements. 57 likes. Yeah, see, there's something weird going on here. Only 20 watchers and 57 likes. That's really weird. Jonathan Grindle, they just brought back the McRib, and man, there was an extremely long line out the door. That's my kryptonite. I got a secret for you. When it comes to junk food, I loved the McRib. It is one of the worst things you can put in your body. It's not even rib meat. What it is, I don't mean to gross anybody out, but this is true. It is the leftover. It's called pork scrapings. So whatever they have left over after they've processed the pig, that's what you're eating. They basically take all that, they form it into a meat patty, cook it up, and that is what the McRib is. If you don't believe me, look it up. I mean, they did an expose on it. Exactly. Scrapple is what it is. But I'm telling you, it is some good tasting scrapple. I absolutely love it. And before it goes away, I'll probably have to get at least one. 400 likes. I don't know about that. If I get to 400 likes, I would think see at least one super chat. Pork scratchings. Yeah, it's basically what it is. I mean, it's not healthy at all. But again, we can't always eat healthy. It's just not going to happen. The best thing we can do is try to eat healthy the majority of the time. And I think that I'm really successful at that. At least I'm trying. How David New said, I don't know if this is worthy, but back on August 1st, I dropped a toilet on my foot and completely severed my heel. So I have to eat healthier. My heel is still healing after almost 3 months. Oh man, I am so sorry to hear that. Um, yeah, eating healthier, believe it or not, will help you heal faster because sugar, all that stuff, it'll raise your blood sugar. When your blood sugar is higher, even if you're not a diabetic, it doesn't really matter if you're diabetic or not. When you have higher blood sugar, it actually hinders the healing process in most people. 67, we're up to 67 likes, by the way. Eric never had the McRib. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you eat it, you'll want more and more. Believe me, it is so good. Pat Scanlon, GMO food is killing people by the thousands. I don't know if I would go that far, but yes, GMO food is not very good for you. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's genetically modified. Basically, what they're doing to make sure there's enough food for the masses is they're modifying different types of food. It's usually like vegetables, corn, peas. They're modifying it so it's a sturdier crop. It'll last longer. It'll hold up to different diseases. But what's happening is we're finding out now that genetically modified food is modifying us when we eat it. It's actually modifying us at the cellular level, our DNA, and that's what's happening. And the government is trying to cover it up. I know that for a fact because they're saying, "Oh no, GMO food is safe. We had countless years of research. We've tested it on all different kinds of animals, and it's fine." Well, I can tell you this: I'm a human being. I'm not an animal, and our DNA is vastly different from any animal out there, with the possible exception of an ape. But there's still what, a 6% difference between us and apes. It's enough for me to say, you know what? Why would I even try putting this in my body? It's just not going to happen. How's Milo? He's good. Milo's sitting right there, just chillaxing. If that's true, Eric, that's really sad. 100% of corn is GMO. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. I don't have those statistics in front of me, but the way things are going, it would not surprise me. Evan Alair play the song. I can't even pronounce that. Chartreuse by Capital Cities. I can't play any music because of copyright infringement. I wish I could, honestly. Actually, the only song I could play you is one that was written specifically for our choir and that I actually have the rights to, but it's a terrible song. Oh, what are we at? 58 minutes almost. I am going to end this at in an hour because I am vastly approaching losing all energy. I'll give you a fitness update really quick. I am at 17,514 steps for the day. If you guys can see that, there you go. And that's on top of about a 15-mile bike ride. So I'm spent. I am totally exhausted. All right, one more comment, and then we're going to end this, or question, whatever we got here. Eric Brunhammer, as I am learning to be more kosher, I'm learning that they are putting eel DNA into salmon to make it grow faster, which because of the eel DNA is no longer kosher. Interesting. It's one thing changing another thing to make it sturdier, but again, it's not healthy. It's not what we need to be putting in our bodies. Well, I guess I need to keep going for a few more minutes because I noticed that we just went up to about 25 watchers. So we'll try to keep this going a few more minutes. So I'm gonna keep this going pretty much until I'm ready to collapse. Jonathan Grindle, I'm so addicted to Overwatch exclusive Funko Pops. You're not the only one. Franchise Kicks really seems to like them too. Eric goes, basically, real corn is not that long or with that large of kernels. It's been going back hundreds of years of corn breeding. All right. Yeah. Something like that, I'd be really cautious about calling GMO because it's been going on now for so long. I honestly don't think that probably has any bearing on our health specifically, but more modern GMO is what I'd be worrying about. Erica, Nick Roberts goes, I never eat corn because it turns up in my POOP. Yeah, it used to happen with me too. It's because your body really can't digest corn. It's kind of just a filler food. Usually doesn't happen to me though, unless I eat a lot of corn. And I don't eat a lot of corn anymore. Jonathan Grindle, you go into Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you know it. And honestly, I'm probably not going to be home for that. I'll probably be up in the Binghamton area. So I'll probably be going to some of the stores up there, which is actually really cool because up there they have Best Buy, they have Walmart, but they also have Staples. And I think they also have Target and everything else there. But around here, at least in the Hampton Roads area, there are no Staples. And I remember in years past for Black Friday, Staples had some really good deals. All right. 22 watchers, 71 likes. I can't believe it. That's insane. Can't wait for the holidays, Awesome Computer says. Me neither. I really need the holidays. And, it's going to be a working holiday when I go up north, but we always have our fun. You do one thing or another. Let's see what we got for likes versus dislikes on this. 73 likes to 2 dislikes. That's awesome. I'm looking at the statistics live right now. I bet I know who those 2 dislikes are, and they should have shame on their foreheads, written on their foreheads right now. Wish Toshiba would bring back consumer grade laptops. I always enjoyed them over everything else. Yeah, I remember way back in the 90s when they had the Toshiba satellite laptops. Those things were bulletproof. I mean, they were crazy strong. Dave New, I'm getting prepared for Halloween pranks. Yeah, I need to do some pranks myself. I haven't done any pranks recently. I used to be pretty good at that too, but I'm always afraid of taking it too far. It's like one of those things that you're either really good at it or you're really not. And I'm somewhere towards the really not. I mean, I can do pranks, but they always come off as childish or more on the dangerous side. So I kind of leave that to the professionals. I would not do prank calls anymore because too many people have caller ID. It's too easy for them to figure out who you are. Did Toshiba ever make an i5 or an i7 laptop for consumers? Oh yeah, oh definitely. Matter of fact, I have a first gen i5 Toshiba laptop, but at that point, the materials just went downhill. They were using the very same cheap plastic that all the other manufacturers were using. And I remember the failure on those a lot of times where the keyboards were really chintzy. On mine, it actually had a backlit keyboard originally, and that keyboard failed. And I went online and bought a replacement for it real cheap. But when I got it home, I realized it didn't have the backlight, and I just said, forget it. I'll live without the backlight. Does Star 670 even work anymore? We used to use that for prank calls back in the day. I honestly don't know. I remember star 69. That would actually, if you did that, it would call back the person that just called you. So if somebody called you and hung up, you could star 69 them, it would call them back and you could figure out who it was. I don't know if any of that works anymore. Hey, didn't you guys remember long distance carriers like back in the day before cell phones? You had added a separate long distance carrier like MCI, Sprint, AT&T. They had their own long distance services back then. I was actually watching some old commercials from the 80s and early 90s. And I remember they were advertising for those. All right, as soon as we hit 80 likes, I am ending this because I am exhausted right now. I can hardly form words anymore. So, someone give me another like here so we can end this. Or if you want me to continue, don't. I'm getting real giddy right now. So yeah, please let's end this soon. Chris Garrett, my mother and dad got an 800 number at home when I was away at school. Interesting. Well, for an 800 number, that means they had to pay for all the incoming calls. So hopefully they had a business that was attached to that. I guess they did it so you could call back home and it was free. But man, that could have been expensive. Ugh, I don't know if I'd want to do that. All right, everybody. I'm gonna end it with a just a summary of what we actually got done tonight. So most of you by now know that I sold my Chrysler Town and Country minivan to my father, and I used some of that money to buy the GMC Yukon. Well, when I sold that to him, it actually did have the brake problem. I had issues with the front brakes where they would stick, the calipers would stick. Well, we got that on the lift today and we finally figured out what the problem was. And the problem was actually with the spacers. They're automatic spacers that actually go in and out as the calipers go in and out. And they were actually dry. They needed to have brake grease put on. So we actually did that. We had to replace the brake pads because they had gotten overheated and cracked. Luckily, the rotors were okay though, so we just had to do the pads. So that's fixed, though we did have an issue. When we put the van up the first night to look at him, we put it up a little too far because there's not a lot of clearance between the top of the ceiling in the garage on the lift and the windshield. And yeah, we cracked the windshield. So they have to come tomorrow and replace that. But it happens. You know what? I can think we've been pretty lucky. We've been here over 20 years and we've put probably hundreds of vehicles up and down that lift. And that's the first time we've ever done that. So kind of dumb on our part, but you know what? Accidents do happen. All right, tubers, we're up to 83 likes. Thank you so much for attending this live stream. I don't see that any super chats came in. If I do later on, I will go ahead and try to acknowledge them in post-production. But that's it. Everybody have a great evening. And as always, have a blessed day as well.